Okay, are you guys ready? In 3, 2, 1.
So if you don't want to do this, you don't want to take the table, guess
Okay.
what?
Longo's all right. We'll take the table to them.
This is not going to be down.
Oh!
A mission. Oh.
Now, wrestling may be scripted, but that doesn't mean that every match goes according to plan. Whether it's out of frustration, disrespect, or just pure rebellion, a few wrestlers have taken upon themselves to throw the script right out of the window, sabotaging matches live in front of stunned fans and furious promoters.
Wait, Tiffy
Join us
time?
now as WrestleMania looks at 10 wrestlers who ruined a match on purpose. Be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell for daily wrestling videos and follow us on Facebook for exclusive lists. Also check out our new videos on WrestleMania XL. Number 1, Owen Hart and Mick Foley. And did you know that Owen Hart and Mick Foley had a negative 5-star classic? Well, actually, they tried to, but failed spectacularly. Mick Foley revealed in his first book, Have a Nice Day, that he and Owen Hart heard that Wrestling Observer newsletter publisher Dave Meltzer was in attendance for a house show in San Jose and decided to rib the journalist by having the worst match ever. Now, could you imagine Mick Foley and Owen Hart having a terrible match? Well, these guys could wrestle a broomstick and make it look good, but Owen Hart was known as the King of Ribs, and the former Intercontinental Champion played plenty of lighthearted jokes backstage,
07 in the
such as
chat,
convincing
guys.
Ahmed Johnson that he was going to be on the Tonight Show, to taking Yokozuna to Toilet City by giving him laxatives on a plane. But both men were down for the plan, and so was Stone Cold Steve Austin, who was the special enforcer of the match. Now,
why would anyone give Yokozuna fucking laxatives on a plane? Bro's gonna shit out his body weight, bro. I'm confident that man would shit out his body weight on a plane. I already don't trust when they oversell a plane and have too many people on it, man. Oh, that's scary. That's scary.
unfortunately, there's no footage of the match itself, but reportedly Owen Hart and Mick Foley oversold every single move. There was even a ridiculous spot of Owen and Mick Foley hitting each other with popcorn bags, and Owen even did popcorn angels during the match.
Aww.
Dave Meltzer didn't have a single clue what was going on, but unfortunately for Foley and Hart, the wrestling journalist was quite entertained by their antics and didn't think that the match was anything close to a negative 5-star match.
Oh,
So,
man.
Here's the thing. I didn't know that they were doing this. I did watch the match and go, they took bags of popcorn and they would hit each other with bags of popcorn and sell it like crazy. And it was absolutely preposterous. But it also got over. And also, even those guys trying to be bad, they were still like it really wasn't like what I would call a bad. It was a ridiculous match.
Right.
You know, it was like watching two guys do a comedy match, but they're talented guys. It really wasn't anything resembling like a negative star horrible match. It was
No,
a comedy
I
match.
bet.
It got over with the crowd.
I bet.
It's a shame that this match will never be seen by the masses because it sounds like a good time, even if this was trying to be the worst match ever. Number 2, Ric Flair versus Bret Hart. Now, Bret Hart believes that Ric Flair has no in-ring psychology. The former WWE champion isn't shy about criticizing the Hall of Famer, and even though he does have respect for the Nature Boy, in Bret's book, Bret Hart, The Best There Is, The Best There Was, and The Best There Ever Will Be, Hart described the first time working with Flair, and it wasn't a good analysis. I was looking forward to finding out whether he was the best worker in the business, as all the marks and wrestling commentators generally declared. Flair was what my dad called a routine man because he did the same match every night no matter who we worked with. He also liked to call every step of the match with little input from me. But according to Bret, after beating Flair for the WWE title, his matches against the wrestling legend only got worse over time. Soon enough, I was launched on return bouts with Flair, who seemed bent on sabotaging our matches. Hart wasn't sure if Rick was doing it on purpose or by accident, but he would screw up Hart's comebacks and mess up finishes. I began to refer to Rick's ring style as full blast, non-stop, non-psychology. He made things up on the spot and did them whether they made sense or not. As a technician, Flair was one of the best, but I was baffled by how little he really knew about building a great match, and was baffled by how this went undetected by fans and sheet writers who continued to worship him. But this issue with Hart and Flair wasn't one-sided, as the former world champion didn't think that Bret was the great wrestler that many fans felt he was. Personally, I never saw dollar signs on Bret Hart. He was a good, sound, physical wrestler, but with limited charisma and interview skills. He could also have been president of his own fan club. Bret truly thought he was the best technical wrestler who ever lived, and he was stuck in a routine that he refused to break.
Oh, they were
Every
DMing
well-known
each
wrestler
other,
has
shit.
patented things that he does in his matches, but you can still entertain your fans by putting those things in different spots or doing them in different ways. If I tried adding things to Bret's comeback, like hitting him with a chop, he couldn't stand it. He had to be in rotation. Now, don't get me wrong, Bret could have a tremendous match when it really counted, but day to day I found him to be inflexible. Now, it's clear that both men weren't fans of one another. Bret and Ric Flair have been taking pot shots at one another ever since the early 90s. Bret has publicly called Flair overrated. However, he thinks that a reported incident before him and Flair behind the scenes resulted in the Hall of Famer trying to sabotage him. Bret was frustrated with a series of bad matches he was having against Flair, so he went to talk to Vince about it. Vince reportedly told Bret Hart to speak up because he was in charge now. So Bret did and said something on the lines of, "I'm champ now." That was in front of the entire locker room, and Bret feels that Flair never forgot about that moment.
Bro really pulled a "I'm the captain now"? Shit. No wonder they hated him. Fuck, dude. I'm genuinely baffled. Bro really said, look here, I'm the captain now. To like people in the locker room. Holy.
Whatever the case may be, it's a shame that the two of the best in the world couldn't really see eye to eye. Flair does acknowledge that he didn't have good matches against Bret Hart when he won the title in '92, as Bret revealed that Ric Flair was going through personal issues at the time as well as depression, but it feels like a good amount of ego could have gotten the best of them. Sometimes great wrestlers don't always result in great matches. Number 3, Shawn.
He pulled his shorts out? We saw Ric Flair ass? I'm so glad that shit was censored. I don't know, but like, you know, I've never one day woken up and thought, you know, it'd be nice today, Ric Flair's ass. He did that a lot! Guys, I'm gonna be so for reals. Like, on occasion when I'm in America, I will go to like indie shows, right? They're not even that indie, but the one time I went to a New Japan one, it was like, I think like New Japan collabing with like CMLL. I think that's what the Mexican wrestling like, fuck, I don't know a term for it. The squat? Fuck, I don't know. But yeah, it was like a New Japan X like CMLL thing. Guys, I was in the front row because it's not like the tickets were that expensive. I saw Zack Sabre Jr.'s cheeks for like a good 30 minutes. Because bro was like constantly, like, I was in the front row, right? And bro's like preferred like corner to like chillin' was the one that was like right in front of me. And he was like adjusting. And I was just sitting there like he's like fucking blocking the match, you know? But also, his cheeks are like right in my face. And I'm like, I like ZSJ. I didn't think I'd see him that way, but okay. And during the view, I literally like was like I was like videoing, right? Like, so I could like post like videos in like the wrestling channel on Discord. But then I had to delete some of them because it was just CSJ's cheeks, and I was like, oh god, I don't want to show you guys that.
Michaels versus Hulk Hogan.
Ooh.
Yep, probably the most infamous match of all. Now, to put into context, the build to this match was great.
I'm not gonna lie.
Shawn Michaels cut a memorable heel promo trolling Montreal, and Shawn did an amazing job to get the people to boo him in a matter of weeks. Reportedly, the original plan for Shawn Michaels and Hulk Hogan was set to have 2 matches starting at SummerSlam. Hulk Hogan was scheduled to win the first one and then Shawn Michaels the last. But that didn't work for Hulk Hogan, brother. Now, as you can imagine, Shawn wasn't thrilled about that. There was no exact reasoning why Hogan opted out to doing multiple matches with Michaels, but the former WWE champion is known for his selfishness and refusal to put others over.
Yeah.
He notably refused to put over Hart, Jeff Jarrett, Randy Orton, and the Ultimate Warrior at Halloween Havoc. The excuse he gave for not wanting to do a second match was that he was injured, but Michaels likely didn't buy it. At this point, it was too late to change the match, so instead, Michaels oversold nearly every move possible in the most comedic way ever. Hogan kept it straight and continued forward with the match as planned, but Michaels' overselling turned a serious match into a comedy act with loads of pratfalls.
Oh, that's so good.
Shawn has denied purposely trying to sabotage the match itself, as Michaels claimed that he sold the same way he did in the 90s. I can't even be a bad guy anymore with people thinking that there's a part of me that's really bad. Even the match itself got blown out of proportion because that confirmed to me that I made the right choice in never trying to be a heel again, because that's the way I sold when I was a heel, and fast forward to 2005, and now that's considered overselling. Now, overall, the match is a mixed bag for everyone.
I get it.
Some fans find it wildly entertaining, and others aren't happy with the overselling. Hulk Hogan fits in the latter. He was reportedly pissed about Michaels overselling, and he felt like the Heartbreak Kid went into business for himself. Or whatever the case may be, Michaels versus Hogan is a match that nobody will ever forget, but too bad it's for the wrong reasons. Number 4.
You know he's mad he ripped off the fucking bandana, bro. He like he unlocked this is like when Damian Priest like like decides to like unstrap himself from like his like wrestling like tight thing. He's like unleashing 100% of his powers, bro. What the fuck? He took off his limiter, bro. Whenever he does that, all I can see is like fucking bisexual Undertaker powering the fuck up. You know, when he like unhooks himself from like whatever wrestling thing it is. It's so goofy. That is the you know when Rock Lee like takes off the training weights in like Naruto? That's them. That's literally them, bro. I love when Drew called him Bondage Undertaker. You know, you want to say Bitaker? It's straight up. He's literally bisexual Undertaker.
Hi besties, it's me, Miwa, and if you're enjoying today's video, please consider subscribing, okay? Like, please, times 1 billion. I'm like, really asking this of you, ne?
Dean Ambrose and Brock Lesnar. Now, whether you love him or hate him, Brock Lesnar is one of the best wrestlers in the world, but when the Beast doesn't care about a match, you can easily tell. That's where Dean Ambrose versus Brock Lesnar comes in from WrestleMania.
God, his
32.
tattoos are so bad.
Despite some fire promos between Lesnar and Ambrose, the build was quite lackluster. Still, fans were intrigued to see what Ambrose and Lesnar could do together, and it turned out to be a huge disappointment.
Ooh.
Moxley had been voicing his issues about working with Brock, and from his perspective, Lesnar just didn't see any value in their match. Neither did Vince or any of the producers. During an interview with Wade Keller, Moxley went into detail about the complications he had during the build-up.
He didn't want to be there. I mean, he put in the, like, in the weeks leading up, I'm like, because this thing is a street fight. It's not like a match you can just call in a ring. It's a street fight at WrestleMania. So we got to get stunts approved, set up. We got to get the right props for table bumps or whatever stuff we're going to do, you know? And, you know, I pitched all this stuff to everybody, all the producers, and I feel like I'm just getting ignored. Because, like, our match wasn't important to any of the producers or writers or Vince. They gave me enough to give me the match, but they didn't give me any help to, like, make it a good angle or, like, make it, like, a hotter thing people want to see. And, you know, can we do this? Can we do this? Can we... all these different stunts and stuff. Like, I'm ready to die in the ring. I'm like, I'm ready to take the worst... I'm not trying to put Brock through abuse. I'm trying to take the worst beating in the history of the world. Like, I'm ready to be... I'm like, if he kills me, great, I'll go down as a legend. I was ready to do anything. But in the weeks leading up, you know, the angle's not good. Brock's not even there half the time. We don't do anything interesting.
Now, Moxley has gone on record and called Lesnar lazy. Meanwhile, Brock Lesnar has never talked about the former WWE champion. However, his former advocate Paul Heyman addressed Moxley's comments, and he cited that the former WWE star had attitude problems and dismissed the notion that Brock Lesnar was quote-unquote lazy.
Anybody who thinks that Brock Lesnar is lazy is not taking a look at the right
Ooh.
circumstances. Come on. Lazy? Lazy got him to an NCAA Division I heavyweight championship. Lazy had him knock out Randy Couture in his 4th MMA fight, the greatest heavyweight champion of all time in UFC.
Now, it's not clear if Brock Lesnar intentionally tried to ruin the match, but it's clear that he wasn't invested in it. When a wrestler isn't invested into a match, then they tend to put less than 100%. Brock Lesnar and Dean Ambrose could have had something special, but instead, they had a very disappointing match on the grandest stage of them all. Number 5, Bruiser Brody versus Lex Luger. Now, this was another strange match, but nothing too out of the ordinary for Bruiser Brody. The Legacy Hall of Famer is certainly deserving of his legendary status thanks to his feuds against The Sheik, as well as Terry and Dory Funk, but Brody was well known for his tendency not to sell, going majorly off script. And that eventually became part of his persona in his final years of wrestling. But it wasn't just that Brody
this is
would
an
refuse
era
to
that
not
I'm
sell,
not familiar
he would often
with.
change the finish of the match or refuse to job altogether. He really wasn't the easiest man to work with in the ring. His infamous cage match against Lex Luger is a prime example of this. The WWE Hall of Famers had a steel cage match in January '87 in Florida, and out of nowhere, Brody just stopped selling for Luger. If Luger punched him, he just stood there. If Luger grappled with him, he just stood there. Lex Luger had no idea what to do. Brody just stopped working and time stood still for Luger. He was the upcoming star at this time, so we didn't particularly know what to do in this situation. Luger and the referee had to call an audible and simply end the match via disqualification because they didn't know how to keep going. What's interesting is that Luger confronted Brody calmly after the match, and the Hall of Famer instantly apologized because he thought he did something wrong. But Brody kind of blew off the situation and told Luger not to worry about it. According to Luger, he didn't really explain why he just stopped selling. but he just said that it didn't work and there was a long day. I guess that clears that up. But rumors had circulated that the reason Brody stopped selling for Luger was because he didn't particularly have any respect for him. According to Ted DiBiase, Brody didn't feel that Luger earned his position, and he didn't take too kindly to calling spots backstage for the match, as this is something for the veterans. Like Shawn Michaels and Hogan, this match is certainly infamous, but for all the wrong reasons. Number 6, Hulk Hogan versus Kevin Nash. Yep, this again. It's pretty much agreed upon that the later years of WCW were horrendous, and that's putting it kindly. Of course, some genius came up with the great idea of having a WCW World title match between Kevin Nash and Hulk Hogan.
Okay.
But this sounded like a great idea, but it wouldn't be on this list if the execution was great. This is the infamous Fingerpoke of Doom spot, where Nash and Hogan pretended that they were going to fight, but trolled the entire world by having Hogan gently pop Kevin Nash and getting the 3 count. Forget David Arquette winning the WCW World Heavyweight title, this moment made the belt look completely worthless. WCW tried to save the segment with a Goldberg beatdown, but nothing could erase the embarrassing moment that preceded it. Number 6, Hulk Hogan versus Jeff Jarrett. Now, there seems to be one golden rule in wrestling: never give Hulk Hogan full creative control. That was a mistake that WCW made, and the WWE Hall of Famer made selfish moves like this. Jeff Jarrett was the WCW World Heavyweight Champion, and he was supposed to beat Hulk Hogan. And as you can guess, Hogan refused to do the job and went out of his way to get creative to change the match finish. They did, and it led to one of the most embarrassing moments of WCW history. Jarrett simply came out to the ring, and as soon as the bell rang, he lay down on the mat so Hogan could get his win. Vince Russo was at ringside and instructed the entire thing. And then Hogan grabbed the mic and stated, "That's why this company is in the damn shape it's in, because of bullshit like this." Hogan then put his boot on Jarrett's chest and then got the 3 count, but he wasn't happy about what transpired. That wasn't it. Vince Russo also grabbed a mic and cut a profanity-laced promo on Hulk Hogan. The overall match was pointless because Russo ultimately gave Jarrett the world title back to defend against Booker T later that evening. They tried to make this a storyline, but it didn't work. Shoot angles can only work if done correctly, but this segment shattered an all-important illusion about pro wrestling. We're supposed to believe that these matches are legit like MMA or boxing, but it exposes the predetermined process of wrestling and also the disgusting politics that played a part in wins and losses. Nobody came out looking good here. Bash at the Beach was supposed to be the crowning moment for Booker T, who beat Jeff Jarrett for the real WCW World Heavyweight title, but it was overshadowed by this controversial segment that further damaged WCW. Number 8, Jeff Hardy versus Sting.
Are VTubers I mean, if you think about it, VTubers also have like kayfabe and everything, right? So if you really think about it, are we just pro wrestlers? VTubing's wrestling? Okay, guys. I'm gonna wrestle the Glitch Stars girls to see who gets the belt. You gotta win the belt. I'm gonna do it, chat. Are you ready for the Glitch Stars pay-per-view? Huh?
TNA wrestling under Vince Russo has a lot of, well, moments.
The fucking coffin is crazy.
In a good way. However, one of the most infamous moments was Jeff Hardy versus Sting at Victory Road 2011. Jeff Hardy's history with drugs and alcohol are well documented, but this was the first real time that we saw him intoxicated on live television, and you could tell something wasn't right as Hardy made his entrance. The title match was scheduled to go on longer, but Jeff's impaired state made it impossible. So Eric Bischoff would come out before the bell rang and told Jeff of the match changes. The bout was rather simple once the bell rang, as Jeff taunted the crowd by not giving him his shirt, a few punches from Sting and a scorpion death drop, and that which lasted all of 90 seconds. You can see the disappointment in Sting's face when the crowd chanted bullshit as he mouthed, "I know." Now, in reality, this wasn't the first time that Jeff had been too intoxicated to perform, as Hardy was reportedly hammered backstage at the Final Resolution pay-per-view and TNA officials almost stripped him of the title. On one of these occasions, him being impaired caused him to miss his mark on a chair shot and gave Ken Anderson a concussion. There were a ton of warning signs that something wasn't right with Jeff Hardy, but TNA turned a blind eye and put their performers at risk in the process. Thankfully, Jeff Hardy now seems to be in a better headspace these days and is currently represented TNA in the tag team division. It's great that the former WWE legend has finally gotten over his addiction.
That's
Number
good.
9,
if it made him like an unsafe performer, then yeah, no, like that's crazy. They should have like pulled him sooner. I mean, I guess he still had the star power to like keep staying, but like fuck, dude, he's unsafe. Okay. Random ass tangent. Did you guys see the Jesus like wrestling spot? Oh god. Jesus, force choking people, dude. That's my goat. That's my goat. That's my goat. It's I genuinely am a fan of like when like wrestling is goofy. I think if it's done well, it's really funny. Like the whole like I actually enjoyed like the Mr. Iguana thing where they wrestled the fucking iguana. It was stupid. It was so funny. It was very stupid. That lizard put in work. The lizard was carrying. After I watched the match, I genuinely sat there and contemplated getting the fucking iguana plushie, dude. Have you ever seen the wrestler whose gimmick is he pulls out a gun and the opponents just give up? I mean, if wrestling someone and they just pull out a Glock, I'd be like, yeah, no, you win. You win.
And Hello Dominio versus Kervo. This is one of the scariest spots in the last decade or so. During a co-promotional Luger event in 2018, the two wrestlers were having a casket match and everything was going to plan. But Dominio was pissed about the hard chair shots from his opponent and decided to give his opponent a brutal receipt. But that receipt was him throwing a real concrete brick on the back of his head. Correa immediately went stiff and went face first to the floor. Now the wrestler goes stiff and face first to the floor where he's checked on by officials and he regains consciousness and is helped to the back, while Dominio bizarrely eliminates himself to end their casket match. Thankfully, he survived the assault and is still wrestling until this very day.
Oh, that's
Dominio
good.
was barely punished for his crimes. What he did was attempted murder, and he tried to claim that it was an accident and that his opponent was in the wrong position, but nobody bought it. For 34 days, he was blacklisted from professional wrestling. That's it. The entire brick throwing actually became his gimmick, and promoters tried to sell the real-life incident to sell tickets. It's one of the more disgusting parts of professional wrestling. A professional wrestler who's been in the business for more than 30 years let his temper get the better of him, and nothing happens to him. And number 10, Earthquake versus Koji Kitao. The WWE held a pay-per-view with Super World of Sports called Wrestle Dream on April 1st, 1991. The show had Bret Hart battling George Takano and Hulk Hogan versus Yoshiaki Yatsu for the WWE Championship. But the one match that people only remember is Earthquake versus Koji. The strange thing about this match is that it wasn't the first time that Koji and Earthquake worked together. But on April 1st, Koji had no interest in having a good match. Koji's temper flared up after he threw the announcer's table at the ring, and the match consisted of them smacking each other's hands and pacing around the ring. You could see the frustration on Earthquake's face, and he even shouts, "This was pro wrestling." But the match went completely off script and ended when Koji kicked the referee, causing a DQ. He stormed out of the ring hot and grabbed a mic and then dropped the infamous F-bomb, labeling wrestling as fake before charging right to the back. Now, Koji had a reputation of unprofessional behavior, but just before his match with Earthquake, Koji was fired from New Japan Pro Wrestling and expelled from Sumo due to his attitude. It's still unclear why he lost his temper so quickly. But there you have it, folks. 10 wrestlers who ruined a match on purpose. Be sure to leave your comments down below, and I'll see you next.
Damn, bro. That shit was brutal. That shit was actually fucking brutal, dude. Holy. I was pissed at losing a former sumo wrestler who's lower level than him. The thing about it is that like I genuinely feel like it's the egos. I think that like the one thing that like ruins a lot of sports is like when people have like big fucking egos, dude.